Welcome to the Stray Pointers podcast, where seemingly ordinary people join us for extraordinary discussions. You're listening to Season 1, Episode 16 of the Stray Pointers podcast. This episode of the Stray Pointers podcast was recorded on December 3rd, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Lawless. For links to items referenced in the podcast, please see the show notes for this episode at straypointers.com. Joining us again today is Doctor Who fan Rick Lundeen. Rick, welcome back.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for having me back.
Today we're going to talk about the second of the 2023 specials for Doctor Who, an episode titled Wild Blue Yonder. And this time I need to make sure that I let everyone know that we are going to spoil everything about the show. So there will be no stone left unturned. So
That's right.
my apologies for not mentioning that before we got started last time.
Yeah, I'm it's probably for the best because, my rambling alone will go into I'll give spoilers on next week's episode, and I haven't even seen it yet.
So this time, Rick, it was a pretty limited cast. It was the Doctor, Donna, Wilf, the captain of the alien ship, a slow-moving robot, and Sir Isaac Newton. Yet we had a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was whenever there was like virtually nothing known ahead of time about this episode because it was all done in studio, so there were really no leaks or anything like that, and you knew it was going to be a slightly different episode. And whenever we have a different episode like that, you might come up with something like Midnight, the old Tennant episode from series 4. And this one leading into it was the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes were a little bit on the boring side because they were setting you up for when the freaky crap started going on. And boy, did it ever.
And it didn't really hit you until it hit you. And you realize, what's going on here? Why are they in two spots? Why are they saying things about their arms?
Yeah, it was very subtle, just like little bit this, little bit that, and then all of a sudden,
So I've been reading a little bit online because I'm not the Whovian that you are, and some of the things that the folks on the internet point out is that there are assertions made in this episode based on things said in The Timeless Child that the destruction of half the universe happened during Flux and that the Doctor was not born on Gallifrey.
Right. Now, were you aware of any of that? Or
no?
No. Okay. Well, it was part of some rambling I did a while back regarding the whole Timeless Child thing under Chibnall, and Chibnall and Russell T Davies are friends. And Russell had said that he was not going to retcon it. He wasn't going to rewrite it or anything like that. But, and some people have said, oh, I wish they wouldn't have gone there. Oh, and it's just like, well, I've always maintained that, you can do whatever you want. Just do it well. And in that one scene there, where he's talking to the Donna duplicate, whatever, and she's grilling him on that. I found that scene to be more heartfelt and honest than the entirety of the Chibnall era. And even watching Flux, they. During that storyline, the Flux, which was some kind of, I don't know, space virus, I forget. I've blocked a lot of it out, but it literally destroyed half the known universe. But no one really cared because no one in the show really seemed to care. Oh boy, that's a shame. Half the universe got destroyed. Anyway, I'm wacky doctor, and it just the gravity, which is one of the things that
You mean Mavity?
yes, you need some mavitas when it comes
Right.
right down to it. And and the old era didn't have that, but here it's like Tenet gets questioned about that, 14 gets questioned about that, and for the first time, put like that yeah, it was some kind of a plot against the Doctor, and because of this plot, half of the known universe was destroyed. Well, that's horrific. That's
Right.
and just in that one tiny little scene, it's like, yeah, okay, well, you're kind of bringing it to light now, just the depth of his guilt, the horror, everything else.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of blood on the Doctor's hands over the last, several thousand years, but this was, although it wasn't, him directly. I mean, he feels it, and I would take, I don't care if they reference the timeless child and the flux. I don't care if they reference it all the time going forward, because it's a huge thing. As long as it's done well, and there's power there, there's stakes, the drama and the writing match up to it, I'm all good. But yeah, they he solidified it. Yeah, that happened, and the Doctor is indeed not from Gallifrey. And it's whatever Russell is aiming to do in the future to either move along or ignore it from now on or play with it. I'm sure it'll be worthy.
Do you think this was an episode, the Wild Blue Yonder? Do you think this was an episode that was meant to I don't want to say reconcile, but maybe that's the right word, to reconcile the relationship between the Doctor and Donna?
Well, I think, yeah, I think her coming back, I think everybody was just so horrified and saddened how things were left with Donna the first time,
Hmm.
having her mind wiped and all this stuff, and it's like, oh, I mean, this is in Russell and Tennant and Tate all getting the band back together. I mean, you really kind of have to kind of try to fix that in some small way if possible. And I think, that was probably part of it. And well, of course, mind you, special number 3 is on next weekend. Who the hell knows what's going to
Right,
happen?
right. But the aliens who were duplicating them
Oh,
were good vehicles to basically, probe their psyches and get some things out into the open. Do you think that
oh,
was the point of this?
yeah. Well, maybe. I think maybe more to the point. I think Russell just wanted to have just some honest discussion, just to air, kind of like we talk about in the past. We've talked about like, say, the old Teen Titans comic. Once in a while, they'd have a day in the life type
Hmm.
issue,
Hmm.
and I think that was part of this. I think there was all part of the catching up. You like to see the interplay between these two characters,
Hmm.
and I think there was a lot of things thrown into the mix. I think this was a really good excuse and opportunity to really dive in there and touch on some subjects. And I think so. I think, yeah, I mean, reconciling their relationship and all. I think there was a lot of stuff going into a lot of recipe, a lot of ingredients going into this recipe.
Okay, I was very happy that the sonic screwdriver got taken away for this episode, because I think he leans on that sometimes. It's got to be difficult to write around that when it can do so many different things. He still seemed to be able to manipulate the aliens, the mechanical system of the ship fairly well. But it
Yeah,
was nice. It was nice that he didn't really have his magic wand there.
yeah, it's the sonic screwdriver is always been a point of contention, and I as well like it when he doesn't have to lean on it too much. I mean, it still has it has its limitations, but yeah. In fact, I didn't even occur to me that he was without it because, well, the doctor is so resourceful. I mean, he's done that in the past where he's operated without the sonic, and I think that's great. You got to mix it up sometimes, and
Mhm.
I've got to get that new sonic screwdriver. It looks pretty cool.
I I have one that I got with the DVD set, and I don't know which one it is, so I'm gonna have to go look. Um,
Mm.
the uh, the defense system, the HADS that his TARDIS used was not original. It had been used in the late 60s, apparently, and then again, uh, I don't know if it was, I don't
He
know
was
which doctor.
with Matt Smith in Cold War. They'd used it then, and there was another one that escapes me where it was very similar. Instead of he used a different initial for the D. Instead of displacement, it was dispersal, and it was I can't remember what the episode was, but yeah,
Okay.
But it's an interesting, really interesting story device where things get so bad, the TARDIS splits. I mean, just bleed.
Yep.
Yeah, and the mere fact that that gimmick, and it is a gimmick, but a wonderful dramatic thing. It's just like for them to only use that 3 times in the past 60 years, roughly. I
Mhm.
mean, which is it's very interesting. And going back to the first time they used it with Patrick Troughton's Doctor, well, back then, during the entire run of the first and the second Doctors, they had absolutely no control about where the TARDIS was going to go. So uh, it wasn't until like the fourth Doctor, really, when that he actually started to be able to control certain short hops or this or that where to go. But that was a huge, I mean, the had system kicking in and the TARDIS just disappearing, and it's just like that meant a lot more back in the early days when because the TARDIS disappears, well, you're screwed. I mean, it's not going to come when you call it, and they could never hop in and do a couple trips in one story because they were stuck there for the story. Either get in trouble, get out, go to the next problem,
Mhm.
whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that was noted in, I think, the Guardian's review of the episode was that the fourth Doctor had explained to Romana that he had met Isaac Newton and he had given him a bit of a nudge as far as gravity, and he said he ended up explaining it to him over dinner. So uh, I'm not sure how that fits in this continuity.
Well, the beauty is it doesn't have to because he just went back later and took him out for dinner.
Yet the prior incarnation knew about it. So does that infer that these doctors all have some sort of inkling post-cognition or something like that?
Well, it's all very timey-wimey, Jim.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah. I mean, he could have, the fourth incarnation could have simply taken him out to dinner, and the 14th Doctor, considering, about thousands of years have passed for him since then. Sometimes he forgets the little details.
Maybe it would have been better if they had Tom Baker walk out in his top coat and his scarf and say, "Not Mavity," and then explain to him what it is after Donna and the 14th Doctor disappear.
If the
Maybe that would have
specials were
given.
just a little bit longer, if the specials were just a little bit longer, they could do that type of stuff. I really didn't expect there to be any like little opening bit with anything. I just thought, they were going to go right into the trouble. So
Mhm.
that was,
Oh, they did make a slight nod that the Doctor is attracted to men from that this 14th incarnation.
Yeah. It was the doctor finding out just out of the blue, thinking that Newton was hot. He goes, oh well, so that's what, man. Interesting. and and it's funny because I usually like when a new doctor regenerates, we have a new incarnation.
Hmm.
When it was Tennant the first time, Smith, or Capaldi, each one of them, I found their first season to be the most interesting as far as their own personalities, because each of them in those scenarios, those first seasons, they were still kind of tweaking, kind of figuring out who their doctor is, and getting used to it. And we've got this period now where he's back as 14 and he's learning stuff about himself, and it's almost a shame that he's leaving next week. you know that's unfortunate.
So it was nice to see Wolf again. I think we all guessed that he was going to show up in this episode, and we're hoping that he's got. I know his scenes were cut short, but we're hoping that he appears next week.
Well,
Next,
I don't think they cut anything short. I think
oh, so he got all those filmed.
oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
He didn't pass away until after everything was filmed. So yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think if there was some kind of issue, they probably wouldn't have had him pop up at the end of this one. I think everything's fine with the filming and all that stuff. So
Okay. So uh spoilers ahead then for next week's episode. So tune out if you don't want to hear these, but
wait a second, what are you going to say? Because I haven't.
well, it's going to be about a cast member that we haven't seen yet in these specials. Do you want me to say it or not?
Oh no, don't say it.
Okay.
Don't say it.
Okay.
I
We will. We
we can
will.
spoil everybody else
Yeah. I
this
won't.
episode.
I won't mention that K9 is coming back next episode.
I'm sure there's going to be some kind of surprise, and I've heard the occasional rumor, but I haven't heard anything that specific. So I'll wait on that.
Fair enough.
Till after we see it, because I have no idea. I have a theory going in a different direction that you watched Power of the Doctor, the last Whitaker, or no?
No, I have
Oh, you
not
didn't.
seen him. No.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
I think I'm gonna have to go back and watch that and The Timeless Child.
Oh, well, I
Uh,
be it on your head if you want to go
well,
that.
I'll I'll tell you where we're at. My wife had never seen Wilf before that she could remember, so we started with Voyage of the Damned last night,
Okay, yeah,
which was his first appearance just
yeah,
before season 4. It was in the Christmas special, season
yeah.
3. So we're probably going to watch all of season 4. And so aside from the specials right now and the Christmas episode, I don't have plans to deviate from season 4 for a while. So we're going to work through that whole season.
Well, that's more than worth it. I think Donna, Catherine Tate. I tell you, as good a writer as Russell is, I thought his writing on season 4 with the Doctor and Donna, I thought that was some of the best stuff he's ever done. And I think a big chunk of it was Catherine Tate.
Mm-hmm.
She just the way she and Tennant approach things, and Donna is more of a real person.
Mm-hmm.
She's not like any one of the supermodels that we had,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and I think that just really went a long way toward the writing and making this character real. And yeah, it's season 4 is great. Beyond that, what are you going to be watching beyond that? You said the specials.
Well, yeah, I will catch the third special next Saturday,
Yeah.
and we'll watch the Christmas special. But until we've worked through season 4, I'm not going to go back and watch. I started on some of the Trout ones, and I've stopped for the moment, and I'll probably go watch that Timeless Child and then that last Jodie Whittaker episode.
Hmm. Well, The Timeless Child, here's the tricky bit. They kind of lead up to it over a few episodes in season 12.
Oh, okay.
And the finale of season 12 is when it all hits the fan.
Culminates?
Yes.
Okay.
Or culminates, yes. And then season 13, it's just called The Flux, and it was only 6 episodes. And it just expands, kind of doubles down on the whole thing.
Maybe I'll maybe I'll read the Wikipedia entries on the 2 episodes then, or the TARDIS wiki, the Doctor Who wiki. Maybe that'll be good enough for me.
I think so. I heartily recommend doing that, because time is precious, and it would take you.
That's ironic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Less time spent. I tried to rewatch Flux because I usually try to give a second chance on some things, just to see if clicks any better or whatever. Give it a second chance. I tried to watch Flux a second time. I got about 10 minutes into the first episode, and I'm kind of like, I just can't do it. I can't do it.
So closing thoughts. If you were in an elevator and a friend asked about episode 2 and you had to succinctly summarize it before you hit your floor, what would you say?
Starts out quiet but tense, and then things just get freaky as hell.
So does that discern it from any other, the bulk of the episodes of Doctor Who?
Kind of, because this gets particularly freaky, especially when you get the
Oh, true. I like the special effects with those arms. Those were really good, and when their faces were all distorted and things of that nature. I really enjoyed all that.
Yeah, that was properly disturbing, and I think there'll be some younger children that have nightmares, and I fully support that, because kids love to get the scared out of them, I think that's great. And that's good proper Doctor Who scaring there. So
Okay. Well, Rick, thanks for being back on the show. We'll be back next week to talk about The Giggle with Neil Patrick Harris.
Looking forward to it, Jim.
I'd like to thank Rick for joining us again, and I'd like to thank you all for listening. Let's do this again soon. Take care.